The coronavirus or COVID-19 outbreak was first identified in Wuhan, Hubei province, China in December 2019. The virus is caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome. The World Health Organization declared the outbreak to be a public health emergency of international concern on the 30th of January 2020 and recognized it as a pandemic on the 11th March 2020. As of the 1st April, more than 873,500 cases of COVID-19 have been reported in many territories and countries, resulting in approximately 43,000 deaths. More than 184,500 people have recovered. Common signs of infection include fever, coughing, and breathing difficulties. In severe cases, it can cause pneumonia, multiple organ failure, and death. The incubation period of COVID-19 is thought to be between 1 and 14 days. It is contagious before symptoms appear, which is why so many people get infected. Infected patients can also be asymptomatic, meaning they do not display any symptoms despite having the virus in their systems. The World Health Organization recommends basic hygiene such as regularly washing hands with soap and water and covering your mouth with your elbow when sneezing or coughing. Maintain social distancing, keeping at least 1.8 meters, 6 feet between yourselves and others, particularly if they are coughing and sneezing, and avoid touching your face, eyes, and mouth with unwashed hands. Sierra Leone, which has been the only West African country to record zero coronavirus case, has on the 31st of March confirmed its first coronavirus case. The business world amidst this deadly virus has been greatly affected. Prior to the outbreak of this virus in the country, there has been a lot of panic. The outbreak of the virus in Sierra Leone and the panic associated with it has surreptitiously affected businesses within the country, especially in the second city of the country, Bo. However, students of Jala University in the Department of Sociology and Social Work have embarked on this exercise to recognize how the impact or how the panic of the virus has affected small businesses in Bo, especially when the country has started the recording cases.
Coronavirus, the virus so long anymore. How it kill people there? No sign of sickness. Yeah, they will not happy, all the fever, you all find pastries because when they are able to watch the guy one. Other than that, from you, no one will glad about this.
Yesterday we are using 7 o'clock sharp, all markets for young people. So Nigeria don't affect the food because some of them are perishing with food themselves.
What is the like 200? What is the 150,000? Then when you come to now, you know the sell, you know the buy. Because the price is all over.
Taking from the international standard in terms of usage, which countries they affected greatly, let alone it's 4,000 hours. It is affected greatly.
Because some are prepared to work there for the business like that. Now we come and they don't let up. Anything they don't let up now. And they can't buy now.
Most of the business partners will come on and the interior they come. But since that thing we have now, more the use of this moment, I only test it. But come when they come again. It stop there, the good day, but business drop back.
Now 4% right now.
Sickness so you can, you don't reach now, we say for the work now, not the work again. We don't know pass it on now, make us on here because one at a plate, I need the life. That money is so important for me, life important than money.
Pray to God, like you get God, and peace. Because this is not your don't count. All man the suffer, not for big one of the small, all man the suffer.
You don't follow them steps the way they teach you. Now the media, law with able to prevent itself. Let people stay indoors when necessary.
We are at Bojon Street, the heart of business in the city of Bo. We're going to sound the opinion of business people on how the virus has affected their businesses. We're at Hilal Al Basma Enterprise, who is one of the biggest dealers in wholesale rice in the city of Bo, to know how the panic has affected their business before and now that we have started recording cases. In the first place, as a representative of the Hilal Al Basma Enterprise, it is my belief that the coronavirus is very pandemic, such that it has affected every sector of the entire world, in which Sierra Leone is not an exception. The only way this virus can be curtailed in our country is by heeding to the precautions put forward by the government. We are beginning to experience inflation in the prices of different commodities since the borders have been closed as a plan to prevent or curtail the spread of the virus in Sierra Leone. We are finding it difficult to travel to other countries to buy more goods. As a result, our shop particular is beginning to be empty. People are now struggling to save much goods as possible in order to survive through the country. Because of the panic, coupled with the closure of borders, we are beginning to experience price escalation in different commodities that are remaining in the market. Goods which were sold at 250,000 euros are now sold at 280,000. This has greatly affected customers. These customers nowadays go to shops with the expectation that they are going to buy products at a normal price. To their greatest surprise, they are shocked by the increment in prices of commodities. Besides, since shops are not full with goods as they used to be, most of what our customers demand to buy are not available.
280, 300. Why? Because of the government are difficult for where they are living. Everybody don't panic because of the declared state of emergency. They talk about state of emergency. Why? You know what? Surprise people there. What do they mean by the state of emergency? People are panic about this particular issue. And now, the layman don't know what the state of emergency means. Now, people there, yesterday, after I talked to them yesterday, people they be worried. They be worried they start for particular food, they start for particular commodity. Why you not available? So, build up the tension of the community.
We are still at Bojon Street, but this time trying to enter one of the most busiest markets in Bo, that is the Shenge market, in order to sound their opinions on how prepared they are for the lockdown and possibly on what they have done in order to prevent the virus, and how also the virus has affected their businesses, because most of them in this place are doing small businesses. To the best of my knowledge, coronavirus is a killer virus which has claimed many lives throughout the world. That is why I'm heeding to all the preventive measures put in place by health practitioners. In order to prevent myself, my children and my customers, I have bought a Veronica bucket, soap, hand sanitizer and others, which I and my children always use. When customers come to my shop, though seldomly now, I first have to ask them to wash their hands before doing business with them. The businesses have been critically affected as most business people are taking advantage of the situation to escalate prices for their goods. A typical example is the Veronica bucket, which before this time was sold at 80,000, now it is at 100,000. Even the price of foodstuff are getting escalated. However, the prices of different commodities are getting escalated because of their unavailability in the country. It is my prayer that the country does not continue the lockdown, because if it does, our businesses are going to be heavily affected, especially those of us selling perishable goods. If my goods got perished, it is going to affect me and my family, because it is out of this business that we survive. Unlike developed countries, Sierra Leone cannot sufficiently feed its people in times of crisis. If the virus spread in the country and the country experienced a total lockdown, it is greatly going to affect the business world and the people, just as we have started experiencing it. And if the business world is affected, the people of this country are going to experience another killer disease called hunger and starvation.
So when I always read opening when next camp people for the houses their businesses they get net make more than that time but today that net stop that clock for now. Let's see how we see again.
We are still at Schengen Market, trying to sound the opinions of some of the customers in order to get their views on how the COVID-19 has affected their lives. This place is still full with people as usual, as most of them are doing their shopping for the proposed 3 days lockdown announced by the government. It is really impossible to maintain social distancing in this area because of the mad rush to purchase foodstuff, as hundreds of people are doing their shopping. We were able to cut up with one of the customers to give us a take. The coronavirus has led to the escalation of prices in the market, as most of the traders are using it as a yardstick to increase prices. Pepper that we used to buy at 1,000 loans per cup is now 2,000 or 2,500 loans. Rice that was sold for 1,500 loans for cup is now 1,700 or 1,800. When we ask them why the sudden changes of prices to some of these goods, they say the borders have been closed and it is not easy to come by some of these products. Every price of various commodities in the market has gone up due to the lockdown. We the masses are suffering greatly. Most of us are single parents. It is only after we've hustled one way or the other we were able to feed our families. This is one of the most difficult moments of my life, as everything looks abnormal. We are praying for the sickness to be eradicated as soon as possible so we can have our normal lives back. My advice to every customer entering this market is to stick to the precautions proposed by the government. We have left Schengen Market, passed through Bojon Street, Fenty Road, and now we're at Fataba. With me is the public relation officer of the biggest cosmetic enterprise in the city, that is Ali Fataba Cosmetic. He's going to tell us how has the virus affected their own businesses and other businesses in this area.
Very, very thank you. Coronavirus, nobody expected it like this.
Looking at it from the global level, the outbreak has greatly affected the businesses of well-developed countries in the world. How much a developing country as Sierra Leone going to cope with this? The proprietor of this enterprise is currently not able to move out of the country to buy products for the shop because of the outbreak and the government's embargo on the closure of borders. Because of this, some of our products are already finished in the shop. Customers will come for certain products, but to no avail could they have it. On behalf of the enterprise, I may want to appeal to our fellow business people not to escalate prices amidst these trying times. We know things are difficult. We know it is not easy to spend money in your business and not have profit. But we have to have the fear of God. If business people attempt to escalate prices for certain goods as they are doing now, the people are going to suffer. And who are these people? They are our brothers. They are our sisters. If they suffer, every one of us, directly or indirectly, are going to suffer. So please, I'm talking to all business owners, all sellers, petty traders, please, let's have a conscience. Let's have a conscience. Let's serve the people of this country to the best of our ability. We are presently on our way to the Traders Union office within Schengen Market to have an interface with the public relation officer for their own views as a union about the things they have put in place in order to sensitize their members and prevent the spread of the virus. Also to knowing how the panic about the virus has affected them as a union and also the traders they are regulating. As a union, We are very committed to government directives on the preventive measures designed for the virus. The union has bought a Veronica bucket that is placed right at the entrance of this compound, which you guys made use of before entering. Besides, we've gone to the media to sensitize our traders, our customers, and all on what they should do to prevent this deadly virus. Additionally, we've also sent our field officers to sensitize the traders and customers about the reality of the virus and the precautionary measures they too should take. The virus has greatly affected the market of Bo City. Nowadays, business people, hawkers, traders stop selling their products at 7 p.m. This has affected the customers greatly. A person who wants to go out and buy food after that time will no longer have access to it. As the public relation officer, it is a common phenomenon that when once there is crisis in the country and there is scarcity of goods, sellers will raise up price for their goods, especially small scale businesses. I'm therefore personally praying that all the customers and even the business people adhere to the strict measures put in place by the government. As this virus has entered Sierra Leone, we are greatly praying that it does not escalate, because if it does, the people are going to suffer greatly, because the burden of taking care of the house is on them.
Only the businessman, Mrs. Businessman. If goods dey in flow, what I go buy, I dey rush for that cancel am so that I will go buy back. But if goods don short you, no other way no dey for manager.
We've left the central business area of the city and now we are at New London, one of the most busiest parks in Bo. We are here to sound the opinions of some of the drivers on how the COVID-19 has affected their businesses. Well, for me, this coronavirus has affected me greatly. Prior to its inception in Sierra Leone, we used to have 2 people in the front seat of the car and 4 at the back. But as of now, the government has stated that we should not overload passengers. The money we used to make per day has dropped drastically, and most of us are not the owners of these cars. Because of government directive that we should avoid overcrowding and the fear in the minds of the people, the number of passengers traveling per day has reduced. Most of the people have the fear of traveling in order not to contract the virus. One of the things that is affecting the drivers in this park is that with all the measures put in place by government to curtail this sickness, no plan was made by either the government or the drivers union on how they will help the drivers to overcome these sudden changes to our normal routine. I believe if the government should have dropped the prices of fuel to at least 5,000 leones per litre, that will definitely help us greatly to combat the sudden changes in the transport sector. My advice to my colleague drivers is that we should abide to the new measures put in place by government because it is for the good of everybody. We all know things are difficult, but it is only when you are healthy you will be able to drive. So let's all maintain the social distancing proposed by government and help to drive this sickness out of Sierra Leone. Let us all continue to have hand sanitizers in our vehicles in order to maintain the health of ourselves and our passengers. Our people in Sierra Leone, these are your children from Jala University. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces daily. This includes table, doorknobs, light, switches, countertops, handles, desks, phones, keyboards, toilets, among others. The virus does not know any color or race, be it black, white, Asian, European, or American. It can affect anybody that is exposed to it at any place and at any time. The cliche that is going around that the virus does not infect a black man is a lie. The best way to prevent this virus is to play along with the directives of the health practitioners.